According to EPI.org, on average, the top 1% in America make 26.3 times more money than the 99%. Now, you may be wondering, what does this difference really look like? Well, it is the difference between making around $50,000 a year versus $1.3 million a year. With such a big wealth gap, I can't help but wonder, is this really what our founding fathers hoped for when forming a country based upon equal opportunity? My name is Zoey Land, a high schooler from Columbia, South Carolina, and I want to tell you all about how wealth inequality can limit the opportunities of talented people and how the American dream can misguide people into thinking that they can join the higher class if they just work hard enough. Now, the issue with this sentiment of, if you work hard, you can become rich, is that really it isn't that easy. For example, a woman who is working multiple jobs in order to support herself and her family is a woman who is working extremely hard. But just continuing to work hard isn't going to make her rich. Now, this isn't to say you can't become wealthy while working hard like this woman is. You totally can. Sadly, this is not the experience most Americans will have. Many people who get stuck in cycles of poverty stay in it for life. In order to understand why people can get stuck in cycles of poverty, or even cycles of wealth, we need to understand what wealth inequality is, how it affects quality of life, and how the American dream can push unattainable ideals that keep people in cycles. According to the Julius Baer Foundation, an organization dedicated to working across the wealth divide, wealth inequality is the unequal distribution of assets among individuals, groups, or organizations within a society or country. This unequal distribution of assets is obviously unfair, and as a country, we have multiple systems set into place that keep this distribution unequal and unfair. One example is the way that schools are funded. Taxpayer dollars normally go into funding schools, and this sounds fine and not an issue on paper, but this plan kind of falls apart when you realize that people in poorer areas have less money to spend on schools, so the quality of education is normally lower. And the same can be said for wealthier areas. People have more money to spend on schools, so the quality of education is inevitably higher. Due to poor education, people may find it hard to pay for their children's education, and so the cycle continues. According to Oxford definitions, the American dream is the ideal by which equality of opportunity is available to any American, allowing the highest goals and aspirations to be achieved. This is a super uplifting concept, and wouldn't be a huge issue if its attainability was equitable. The thing is, sometimes aspirations just stay aspirations. I'm sure many of you in the audience have had big dreams, major goals that you couldn't pursue for one reason or another. Whatever the reason, this equal opportunity to pursue your dreams just wasn't there, and I bet it wasn't because you didn't work hard enough. But how did this seemingly unattainable ideal come to be? Well, the ideals of America started as soon as our country formed: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These were the three principal inalienable rights listed in the Declaration of Independence. These words represent the want for freedom and to do what one pleases, which is why our founding fathers fought to take control of the American colonies. This is what America was formed to be, a place where you could do what you wanted with as much of a chance as anyone else. However, this concept doesn't apply as much as it used to. For example, it is harder to buy a house now than it was in the Great Depression. It wasn't always like this, though. 2008 marked the start of a housing market crash and economic recession. And while America was able to come back from this for a short time, we're now in the throes of a housing market that feels worse than ever before. Homeowners now just don't have the same chances as those before 2008. Telling someone now that if they work hard enough, they can afford any house they want is just misleading. Katika Roy is an author, CEO, and award-winning gender economist. She has been monumental in helping research this talk. I asked her how economic circumstances you're born into can affect the potential wealth you can gain later in life. In response, she expanded on multiple issues. Numerous other factors aside from annual income affect how kids can thrive or fall in the system. Katika wrote, "It's not just about annual income. Long-term stability, inherited wealth, social capital, and expectations play defining roles. Many children with parents who are born into poverty will be expected to follow in their footsteps, and they may lose opportunities for growth due to people with prejudice against those who have lower income. This is a huge issue. If we do not give children the chance to break their cycle, it will never end. But what to do about this? Well, to understand where a good starting point is, we need to understand what breadwinner moms are and how they affect families. Breadwinner moms are mothers who have the high-paying jobs in families and bring home most of the money. Once again, this does not sound like an issue on paper, but due to the pay gap between women and men, families with mothers as the main breadwinners are earning less money. Katika wrote, breadwinner moms earn 66 cents for every dollar earned by a breadwinner dad. This pay gap causes families to have much less comfortability. And for what reason? Once again, the American ideal of if you work hard, you can succeed does not apply equally to every American. If we close this gender pay gap, poor families with women as the main breadwinners will have more of a chance. This could be the start of more families being given hope for the future, children and adults. Katika wrote, fixing this isn't charity, it's a growth strategy. Closing the gender pay gap could boost US GDP by billions and support millions of children. I hope my talk has enlightened you all on why wealth inequality is such an issue and how out-of-reach ideals limit class mobility. It's such an important thing to be able to recognize, even if you aren't in a spot to make a huge difference. Simply recognizing how it affects the world is a huge step towards change. Before I end my talk, I'd like to give a huge thanks to Katika. She's been so helpful in helping this talk, and I really value her time spent on helping me. I'd also like to thank Alana Rea for giving me the opportunity to talk about something I feel very passionately about. I feel as though something Katika wrote to me really summarized what I wanted to relate through my talk. A child's future is most heavily influenced by annual income, parental income, education, and wealth, not intelligence or ambition. Thank you.